Welcome to Dirty 20, where we talk about D&D. We think about it too hard, but that is our affliction. That is our curse as Dungeon Masters, that we think far too much about this game. So I was thinking about the wonderful Pillars of Play. Pillars of Play. We've all heard of them. We all know them. We all tried to memorize them. We tried to put them in our games to make our games fucking better than they were before. And then sometimes they were shite. So basically what I've come up with is I've tried to come up with a system that explains why we need to use the Pillars of Play more. So I call it the RPG building, right? And it involves pillars, right? That's how you keep a building up. You use pillars, and those pillars are going to be the Pillars of Play. But let's first get some things established. I've got little tokens here, but my camera doesn't autofocus, so you probably can't read them. But basically, this will be our visual aid for the evening. Your three pillars: social interaction, couldn't fit that on a paper; combat, and exploration, which I also couldn't fit on the paper, so it's explore without the E at the end. If it has an E at the end, because I don't know, because I'm dyslexic. So the point is, ladies and gentlemen, the fucking point is, stop making fun of me for being dyslexic. First, you need a foundation, okay? That's how you build a building. You need a foundation. That foundation of any RPG system, any of them at all, if it involves the chance of failure. We have uncertainty and tension. These are the two things that you need to run any game successfully, right? Because if there isn't a chance that you can fuck it up, why are you rolling dice, right? So if you are rolling dice, you need these two things, right? You need uncertainty. You need there to be like can I fail? And then you need tension, which is like, if you fail, there's going to be a problem, right? That's it. That's just the foundation. That's more important than the rules. It's more important than the fucking... Gosh, I'm swearing, man. It's for so much. And then the fucking character classes or the character sheets, or you remembering the monster stats or the rule, anything. It's more important than anything. You need to make the players feel like fucking shit matters. And if they fuck it, it matters. And if they fail, problem. So, we're going to move on to the pillars, because that's where you put pillars on. You put pillars on a foundation. You don't put pillars on fucking mud. They fall down. So, obviously we know the pillars. You combat, you hit things. Social interaction, you talk to things. And exploration, you look at things, right? This is very, very simple. We don't need these to be complicated. They're fucking simple. And then you plop the roof on top, right? Now we're going to call it the roof of the real feel, because I think the actual word is verisimilitude, but here at Dirty 20 we don't believe in big words. So verisimilitude, fuck off. House of the real feel, right? No, ceiling of the real feel. The building is the house of the RPGs. So why are the players on top of the building? Because if the players fall in, they're going to notice all the stuff that you use to build up, right? So you can get more complicated, right? You could add in so much stuff into this building, but for now, stick with the pillars. They're going to see how you built this fucking building. So, we need to keep the building standing. So, how do you do that? You use all three pillars, right? But now, they just tell us in the book, or I guess the general consensus is, which isn't wrong, it's not wrong, I just don't think it's deep enough, that you use all... Fuck, I'm getting hot, man. I'm getting the tea sweats. Bloody tea sweats. Right, so the convention is that you take a session of D&D and you want to add one of each pillar, right? You want to explore something, you want to fight something, and you want to talk to someone. I say yes, that's true, but you need to be more... It's not specific. You need to be more... It's more complicated than that, right? It's like, how fucking long is a piece of string? It's as long as you want it to be, and what kind of string is it? What, like, you know what I mean? Like, we want to expand the question so that problem solving isn't, just you have more answers for the problem, right? If we were to say that you need to add a session with these three things, that gives you certain parameters to answer the many questions with. But if I said to you, we are going to use all three in each scenario, every single scene. Oh, fuck it out. Every single scene in Jesus, every single scene in the game, right? Every single scene, you use all three. Not just use one for each scene. Use all three in each scene. But what you need to do is emphasize one of the pillars. Like make that pillar massive, right? Because then what you can do in a single scene expands greatly, right? Or at least expands greatly. It helps my brain. I don't know if you guys are as fucking strange as I am, but it helps my brain think of things much bigger than they actually are. No, not much bigger than they actually are. No, that's not what I was trying to say. Ignore that. Right. I'll explain with an example. We will take combat. Let's emphasize the combat pillar. What does that look like? It looks like war. It looks like fighting. It looks like a skirmish on the battlefield. Or a dance with danger in the dungeon. Oh, so how do we add? So we're going to enhance the fucking combat pillar. And then we're going to support it with some social, right? We're going to support it with some social stuff. Right? It's not that complicated. Just have an NPC there that's on their team, giving them advice or warning them of stuff, and they can talk back and forth to, right? So you've added a little bit of social, but it's mostly combat. Or have the bad guys throw insults at them, right? Like my dad could beat up your dad, right? It's a classic insult. And then have the players be like, no, he can't. My dad does judo. so, right? Easy peasy. We want to support it with a little bit of exploration. Right? So that's just as simple as well, right? Let's have an explosive barrel in the corner. Oh, my back. Let's have an explosive barrel in the corner that the players can go and use to blow shit up. Because there's nothing fucking cooler than blowing stuff up, is there, in a combat? Or have, what did I have? Like a disruptive tome that's disrupting the magic in the area, and the wizard has to find the tome while the fighters are... When the wizard is moving around the battlefield, just get to the tome, disable the tome, and then he can rain down fire. Like that, right? So this combat is now so not awesome, right? Well, I mean, fucking metal as fuck. But mainly, what I was getting at is there's so much happening, right? They're on the battlefield, they're looking around, they're talking to you about the environment because they're trying to explore. Their NPCs are talking to them, so they're talking to each other, they're talking to the NPC. There's also combat going on, so people are getting disarmed, and people are getting picked up and choke slammed, and things are happening. They're trying to pick up a explosive barrel and throw at the enemy, right? So much is going on. Oh fuck, don't touch that. That's really noisy for the audience. So everything's going on, right? So see, you've made it so... You've fucking bombarded them so much with stuff, with aspects of this game, that they have no time to think, this is fake. Because obviously it's fucking fake, right? We're not all fucking babies. But it doesn't feel fake at the time because you're completely overwhelmed. So let's just say you just took this pillar away, right? These two pillars just fucking fuck off. Oh, I regret doing that. It's just this. All of a sudden, right, you've just got one room, combat, one room, combat, one room, combat, one room, combat, next room, combat, right? They're going to quickly be like, this is a game, right? There's no one to talk to. There's nothing to look at. It's just walk in and move 30 feet, hit him with my sword. Like, there's nothing happening. They're quickly going to get bored. Exactly the same if you do it with just social interaction. If you just have social interaction everywhere, they're going to get bored of the fact that there's just people to talk to. There's nothing to hit and there's nothing to look for. Right? Because that also involves like going from like mysteries, for example. That's the first question is like, no, you can have a great session with only talking. Exactly. But you're probably going to be using the other pillars to help, right? Let's do an example, right? So an exploration mission, right? You got social, right? So the game is to figure out who killed fucking Beaker Bill, right? From Beakers Incorporated. They're trying to figure out who killed them. Because they were mates with Beaker's Bill. Let's not do that improvisation thing. So they need to figure out who killed Beaker's Bill. So they go to Beaker's Bill's Incorporated, right? They look around. There's people to talk to there. So they start talking to them. First of all, they need to get to Beaker's Bill's, right? So that's exploration. Things are happening. Then you have to find the people you're talking to, right? That's pretty simple. But now, social interaction. Social interaction is boring if people don't if people give you everything, all the information that you need without any sort of pushback, right? Foundation, without any sort of tension or uncertainty that you're not going to get it. It just turns into talking to people and moving around the room and just talking to people. There's no, oops. There's no any like tension. There's no tension. There's no point. You just tell them what they want to know. No, they need to get it out of the NPCs, right? Then they tell them that Beaker's Bill was possibly killed, or someone who saw him last alive, right? That's what usually happens, was Jill from up the hill. So Jill from up the hill is obviously up a hill. So then they're like, where is she? Sorry, let's just phrase that. Where is she? Obviously up a hill. So the players need to find the nearest hill, look up it, and see if they can find, right? Exploration. Right? So we've just added these two, and it's the same thing, right? They're obviously exploring, but now they have to go ask people to find Jill, and is she up a hill, and is Jack there? And there's a whole, like, they're going around exploring and stuff. But then we add the fact that there's a murderer going on. You can have gangs in the streets, right? Maybe gangs are involved and they're trying to stop the players finding out who it is, right? So there's a threat of combat. Combat doesn't need to be combat, like they're actually fucking jabbing each other, right? It doesn't need to be combat. Combat can also be you're being followed. If you don't do something, you're gonna get jumped, right? Or somebody's getting wide. Somebody's in a bar. Someone's just talking shit. That's what that means, right? That would be an example of using the combat pillar without using the combat pillar, right? So you're supporting. See how I'm saying? So this game becomes much more of an influx of information. You're engaging the players in all three pillars relatively at the same time, possibly at the same time. But as you will have noticed in some of my examples, some examples didn't use parts of the pillars. Now that's fine. If let's say you have this big chonky social interaction, right? Now, it can be so chonky that it can hold up the building for a little while, but it can't hold up the building for the whole session. So you got this chonky social interaction, like there's a bunch of people who are there at the crime scene. You have to investigate the crime scene and talk to all the people. That's a really good example of a big chonky, fucking girthy, bloody pillar holding up the ceiling of real field, right? It's a great example of that. But it can't hold it. You need to bring these pillars back into support and give it a rest, right? Exploration's the same thing, right? I would use exploration. I say the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. It was the same idea, but it's very similar in concept. Exploration, so that's looking around and looking for puzzles. So in a dungeon, you're looking for the puzzle to get. You're in a room in a dungeon, and there's a door in front of you, and you need to figure out how to get it open, right? That's exploration. That's a puzzle. Like I said before, it's very simple in a dungeon, right? Have an NPC that they need to talk to. Like you could have the doors fucking transparent, and on the other side are some goblins or some orcs or whatever goading the players like, you're very stupid because you can't open the door. Bet you can't even count to 10, right? Just simple stuff like that so the players can retort and be better, like have better retorts than you, so then they feel really clever. Combat. So obviously there's the anticipation of if that door opens, we're fighting orcs and we're ready to kill them, right? They are fucking raring to go. And if you're really good at insults, they'll be so ready to just kill you. Combat, right? Combat exploration. That actually should be this way, but you can't read it anyway. So right. Everyone gets it. It's a very, very simple concept. I think it makes it more obvious of how you should run the system. No, sorry, run the game, not a system. It's just you got to use every single pillar like different ways, and you can mix and match the way you do it. But if you were to just use the pillars, bang, 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 and just emphasize one and support it with two, emphasize one, support it with two, you'd have a wonderfully fun session. And if you use the principles of tension and uncertainty, which is essentially just danger, really, danger with a chance of escaping is really what it is. You know, like traps and stuff like that. Although I don't like traps. Not conventional traps. Like you step on a plane and take damage. I'm like, all right, but it's not fun. I've noticed the players don't really find it very fun. They just get hurt. But yeah, so that's the... Well, it took me half a cup of tea to explain. But yeah, I think the wonderful thing about this hobby is that obviously there's multiple ways to do many things. But this is how I would run most of my games. And I think that's it. But obviously, like I said, if you have a really girthy pillar, like if you have a really girthy combat and it's just it's mayhem. It's mayhem. We all know those combats which are just absolute mayhem. You know, fireballs are being flung, people are being hit, so on and so forth. super stressful, super tense. Some of you guys, I don't like that crunchy combat that's really number crunchy and you spend a lot of time moving around. Or you spend the whole session. Like my combat's super quick, super deadly, like books and like movies. They come in the room and they kill people fast. So obviously you've got a girthy ass fucking combat and you got players that like it. So it's very different for you. So it all depends on your table. You got to adjust this. But this is the thing. It's very adjustable. It's very easy. It's very understandable. But the only thing is you're trying to keep the players on top, feeling like it's their game, feeling like it's their immersion. Feeling like it's their immersion? No, like it is immersive for the players. I just said we don't like big words, and I'm trying to use big words. This is why we don't use big words. I did right. They need to feel like it's real. And however you do that, that's your job as a dungeon master. But I found this to be very helpful for my brain to understand, when I was learning anyway, how to like balance the game. To be awesome. So yeah, good job, everyone. Learning. Anyway, you want... Alright, anyway. So, if you'd like some adventures with the prime example of these, you can find them in the description below. And thank you for fucking listening to me talk.